Hello, everybody, and welcome along to Steakdorra the Explorer's review, REL 1 and 2A of Season 15 in REBBL. This is Week 5. Hello.
Hello.
So, we'll do our standard stuff. We'll watch a game, talk about the teams, etc., etc. And by talk about the teams, I mean look at what they've done and see what they're going to do. We are back in 2A for our match this week. We marked it as one that we thought could potentially be a cool one to watch during the recap last week. And one of the teams we haven't seen play yet. We have seen the other one, but we're going to get some overlap at some point, it turns out, with the nature of how schedules work and that sort of thing. Plus, we wanted to watch it because of the thing that we pointed out last week. And nobody DM'd me, so this is your fault if you don't like it.
Someone told me to watch Fed's game, but we watched a Div 1 game last week, and also Fed's game was a 4-1. So
yeah, so why would I watch that? Maybe interesting things happened, and maybe Fed played it really well to make it 4-1. But I don't know. Just looking at the scoreline implies to me that it's not interesting, but it very well may have been.
My game was interesting because we played a game of sevens for the second half. My killer got 4 removals on 2 blocks.
I got out armor broken again for like the 5th week in a row. Yep. So that was good. Almost pitch cleared. It was at one point. It was a little silly. But I've had a terrible season, and really, it's just I think the universe telling me, why the hell didn't you reroll this team 3 seasons ago? Like any sane human being.
I think you do that every season.
Yeah, but the number increases. Last season it was 2 seasons ago that I should have rerolled, and the season before it was 1 season ago I should have rerolled.
All right, fair enough.
The number does keep increasing.
You ready for this?
I am. Let's go into the game. We are going to be watching Trunkhead, who we have seen before with the Damn Yankees, and Logos Mani, who we haven't seen before, Fragile and Limp. It's the reason why we thought it would be interesting is it's 2 high table teams, both high TV Dark Elf teams, and the mirror should be fun to watch, I think. So
it's like a really positionally interesting game when it's a mirror of high mobility, like flexible teams, as Dark Elves tend to be. So
now I got my flu shot earlier today, and now my arm is starting to do that thing where it's like sore when you move it around. You know,
getting things injected into muscle tissue.
It was fine. Like I got it like 3.5 hours ago, and like I didn't notice anything until literally right now. Like, of course, right now is when it starts. Okay, I'm in. Are you in? Are you ready to go?
I am in. I am ready to go.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. The Damn Yankees have a wizard, and that's what we've got in terms of inducements.
I believe that's why we thought Trunk would win.
I think so.
Or I thought Trunk would win. I think we split it.
I don't remember, but that's something that I can look up. You predicted the Damn Yankees, and and I predicted Fragile and Limp.
Yeah, because Fragile and Limp has the better kind of positional suite with like really interesting. Like it's got a gutter runner with Agi up, so it's good at like one turning, which most Dark Elf teams can't do very easily. Like we discussed, movement 7 is quite challenging, and movement 8 is still pretty hard. Movement 9 is trivial.
I think it was like the lot of the neat positionals, like there's a lot of movement, including the like strip ball piece is interesting, and then sort of what put it a little bit over the edge when I was kind of debating between the 2 teams is that Logos Mani just has such a high like record so far. I think he's top of the div, right? So I was like, well, I'm gonna gotta break the tie in my mind somehow, and that's an easy way to do it. So I think that's what put me there. Here we go. Damn Yankees get an extra reroll, and Logos Mani. I don't know if I'm saying that. Logos Mani. I'm just gonna say Logo.
Something like that. Logo has gotten a short kick, which could be spicy. Ooh, armor break on the first hit, just a stun though. Still nothing to complain about.
Bonk. Number 2.
Block is a good skill. Who are we going to hit? Are we hitting the runner? I think we might. The runner is the best one-turning threat from... Ooh, 2 breaks. Armor 8 not holding up.
I mean, yeah, he's movement 8, I guess, which is pretty significant in terms of like
So he's
the
the only one
ability
who
to
has
do
a reasonable shot at one turning, and also he is armor 7, no block. So
Yeah.
this is a good blitz in terms of potential damage. I don't know why we brought in an extra assist there.
it. That's a good question.
This isn't Frenzy, so I don't really understand. Also, we could have just pushed him straight back. Are we thinking about fouling? Oh, we're following up.
Hang on.
Gets stunned. The Dark Elf Blitzer Paladin animation is great.
It's
Ooh,
better
gets a
than it's certainly better than like the foul. Yeah, you didn't need the extra mark there, but like I think it might have just been like
It's to defend against the foul, I guess.
Yeah, it's like pre-positioning. You could have moved him there after. Like you didn't need to move him before you blocked, I guess. But like it was maybe just in case the block didn't work. But and I don't. It wasn't super necessary, but I also don't think it mattered. Like whether you did it or not, you were gonna do it afterwards.
Yep. So it does mean I don't know about giving up this block. You've basically you're giving up a free block hit on a lino that could result in damage. Doesn't, but could have. He's got no one to foul with. Like, is he gonna foul with the armor 7 wrestle piece after he's already gone down a player? Probably not. So maybe what do I know? Who knows? Trump could totally go for it here.
I mean,
you,
you say probably not, but that's such a ridiculously good elf in this matchup. Like the piling on Mighty Blow, like just in the elf matchup, can make a huge difference.
Trump did expose his armor busted strip ball piece, which isn't that important on offense, of course, but is not bad. Oh, he is.
When you
totally
say that, you
going for
mean
the foul.
Logo, right? Trunk is on defense right now.
Sorry, yes. Logo exposed.
Yep,
his,
here's the foul.
Strip ball.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by this, frankly. See, I hate that animation. Just like it's like they're cats, and look at my butthole.
Yeah.
Is what they do.
Stun, no?
It's awful.
No send off, so all in all, a decent result. Now Logo is spread a little thin.
Oh, hey,
I
Chub
like
Step.
Trunk's positioning on this. I don't know about the foul. We're going to see a counter hit now on John Rambo, I assume. We do have some tackle kicking around. No, we don't. Oh, yes, we do. We got a blotch blitzer.
REL 1, REL 2A review for week 5 for those of you joining from Chub Step stream.
This is interesting. We're pushing a Palmer onto the ball, which seems bold.
We kind of have to reroll that.
But then we don't get it either. So why did we do that with the non-tackle piece?
I'm concerned.
I'm also concerned. There's a Palmer on the ball.
I mean, the palm part of that isn't really that important, other than like it's a really good piece, and you don't want him palmed.
There's tackle pieces. There's a tackle piece on your ball.
Yeah, like in terms of getting the ball down, the palm part doesn't matter, but like in terms of getting one of your best players punched by palm, it does.
It's more of a matter of principle at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not going. Oh, of course, we don't need to blitz the ball, so this is fine.
No, we want to get him out of the way so that we can get the guard piece or a guard piece in there, right? So that we can fix the. Yeah.
So there's currently that's a positive assist, and there's one negative assist. But we can ruin it by doing this.
And then if we just follow,
so that's a free 2-die on the ball.
Yep.
And we get it.
And now we got a bunch of like blodge step guard, like awkward places. That is going to be pretty hard for Logo to like counter block, as it were, right? Like the fight is going to be hard for him. That's one of his better pieces, just KO'd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we needed to be in this position, but Trump can easily recover now. Which
Agi Witch.
I don't think he's going to keep it next turn, but he does have the ball currently.
He has enough players to screen some things off, kind of.
Ooh, even goes for another foul.
You are slightly ahead. Here's the foul.
Foul is just a stun.
Like we can hit the ball. It's not. We don't have a particularly good hit though. Right? I mean, we could pretty easily one-die it, like without very much effort. But if we wanted to get it better than that,
I think there's some chain push plays to get better than that.
Yeah, there are. But if you want
one die pow when you wanted, well, I don't know if you. That's fine, I guess. You could have surfed him, I guess, but you probably have better things to do.
Yeah, there's certainly ways of like making it possible to get better hits on the ball. Just like the only thing that doesn't require really any dice is like running around and one-dying it, or dodging and one-dying, or whatever.
Well, I think we're gonna. We're fouling.
The palm guy.
Yeah, fouling the Palmer with 3 player. Oop, stun and send off though.
Oh, John Rambo is stunned.
So some things have been going Trunk's way for sure, but I feel like Logo.
God, their uniforms are so similar that this is really hard for you to figure out what's going on.
I know. I should have thought about this before I agreed to cast this match.
Yep. Just remember the names. All the ones that are America are Trunk. The ones that are America, you know, the witch is Uncle Sam, or the witch is Liberty Bell.
Yeah, there were some choices that turn for sure.
Yeah, I think there was a couple interesting choices made by Logo. Like just even over the first couple turns. No surf there. This is so weird. Like here, 4 witch elves all hanging out like 2 feet from the sidelines. Everyone keeps trying to surf each other, but no one can do it.
Rolling endless pows. Yeah.
Damn it! All the pows.
So I think Superfed the foul or the blitz was going to be to surf the Palmer, but he rolled a pow. Now finally gets the killer out.
There we go.
So that's 3 KOs that Logo's going to have to roll.
And so there was one bench for
one bench for each side,
for Logo, or for God, the Dark Elves are so confusing. One bench for each of them, but we've gone through that bench in the send off and an injury for both players, so it's just with the KOs for Logo.
Would you have fireballed this? You had a 5-man fireball.
Maybe
you had a 5-man fireball. I mean, you have just a natural 2-die, I guess, after you do some dodges and a. Yeah, I mean I guess you had a good hit on the ball without it. No recovery though.
Yeah, but didn't the 5-man fireball include 2 armor 7 witches?
It did, but if you're fireballing for attrition.
No, like you're not fireballing for attrition there, but it's like another bonus point in favor of doing it, right? Like if you look at the math between like fireballs removals, you know, armor 7 is where it starts to become like, you know, semi worth it. Oh no, it's also Trunk that has the wizard. You're silly.
Oh, I am silly. Yes, I just was like, wow, this person getting the crab kicked out of them probably has the wizard.
I was just listening to you, and I shouldn't have.
That's a correct and valid assessment.
Yeah, the Dark Elves all looking the same. Is
well, Dub Skull from Quad Skull from Trunk.
Wow,
that's fun.
Wow. Oh, I got Trip Skulls in my REL game this week on the LOS block, which was fun.
Well, we'll commend him for doing the safe things first. So the ball is reasonably secure because the blodger is based by guard. We're looking at a cage dive from the witch, I think. Yeah.
Oh, on my turn 8 LOS block, like the irrelevant one, I trip skulled, and then on my turn 9 LOS block, I trip both downed. It was very like it was quite a thing.
That was a decision.
It was a decision.
All right, we're rolling dice.
So many dice.
Cubes are being thrown. I sense perhaps a whiff of tilt.
Maybe. I mean, we can. So yeah, we can block the blodger, and then we can block the rookie, and then we can block the blodge lineman, and then the witch can just leave. And if pretty much any of those fails, or we only get pushes or whatever, the witch can still dodge and leave because she's at G5. But we can clear up a lot of this with just a boatload of blocks.
Yeah.
We could also just dodge out the back. Oh, well, never mind. Oof.
Wow. You know, this drive was Trump's, but his dice are doing the best they can to take it away from him.
We could have blocked. I mean, maybe he wanted to have the players free to do something, but we could have blocked free both of those players, right? He had to dodge from. Because we could have blocked the. We could have blocked with Liberty on.
I think they weren't consequence free blocks. He was triple mark.
That's probably fair. Yeah, but you blocked one, and then you could have blocked so you blocked. This guy with this guy, and then he follows. Oh, he's not guard. I thought he was guard, not him. Yeah, if you knocked this guy down, you could have cleared up all the blocks. But since you didn't knock him down, this guy wasn't an assist for this block, and then you couldn't do it very easily.
Now, the interesting thing I'm seeing is that Sure, the ball is clear, but I don't see Logo's recovery. He has to dodge. I guess, yeah, he had to dodge through tackle. There's a 3+, 2+ through tackle. Well, only the 3+ is through tackle, but he won in 9s.
You are about 2 seconds into the future. 1 in 9.
God damn it! I keep pausing, but
Ding.
too good. All right, so 1 in 9 dodge there saves Trunk from. I don't know. I think if you're Logo, you had to find a way to score there. I don't see you getting this super safe, and that Witch Elf wasn't in scoring range. I don't think once she cut sideways. I might have just gone for a 3+ pickup instead of a 3+ dodge, and
Maybe.
like especially if that gave you the opportunity, I think, to score. I'd have to go back and look, but 1 in 9 there does make things complicated for Trunk.
So yeah, well, I mean, the worst case, like Trunk this is Logo's drive, and I think the worst case scenario is that Trunk gets out of this without scoring, like 0-0, which is still pretty good, and that's like the worst case. Like best case, he's going to score
is
here.
a good skill.
Okay, well that's probably the score. I mean, even if everything failed, like this was still a really good drive, and for Trunk, removed a bunch of stuff. It might come back, but you know your opponent didn't score. You didn't use your wizard. He now has 0 rerolls for the last 2 turns. If you had to score early and he tried to 1 turn or something. Like,
I don't think you can even force the score here very easily.
It's all very irrelevant now that he picked up the ball and passed it, but you know, if we paused the game before he had picked up the ball and passed it and we didn't know what was going to happen, I'd say like absolutely worst case, everything is still really good for you, even if everything goes badly.
Yep. 2 permanent injuries, though, does mean that with some good KO rolls, Logo could still totally be in this game with a full bench, 11 on 10. And both of the pieces that Trunk is missing are at least decent. So.
The runner is not super relevant, but the Agi, it's relevant, obviously, but it's not the most. Otherwise, he wouldn't have exposed it in the rule of 5. And the Agi Witch is certainly important, is the big deal. We're hoping these KOs... I mean, some of the players that are KO'd are ridiculously good elves. So depending on if you assume average KO rolls and we get 2 of them back,
being able to force even like
they could
the
still
double
be...
KO rolls here means that Logo could be in a real heap of trouble next half.
It depends on who comes back. I think is the big thing.
Decided by a bunch of coin flips. Yeah,
I know. I've played so many of those, especially this season.
Well, I mean, if you're Trunkhead here, like even with good KO rolls, all you do is you 2-turn. You've got a wizard, you're up by 1 already. You go up by 2, and you've got against a wizard, or with a wizard, I should say. Like the odds of your opponent being able to overcome that are pretty low.
Yeah, that's very true. But the KO rolls, like which ones come back, certainly I think dictate your strategy pretty seriously. Like
well, that was a quick turn.
Yep. if you get none, or if he gets none, you just like, okay, cool, I'll defend forever. Like I can stall forever and win 2-0. If he gets like
We're gonna see a 3-die here, I guess.
The strip ball or like the palm, maybe you change your mind.
I mean, I guess you do a 3-die from the Witch Elf because it's more likely to knock him down. I guess you probably want Uncle Sam to level.
Yeah. Nobody is like in relevant SPP range, but SPP is SPP. Hey man, $20 is $20. Not stacking up the running yards. Why do Dark Elves have crotch plates?
Didn't we decide that running yards only count vertical movement?
They do. That's why I'm saying I'm disappointed that he didn't do it. But it also doesn't matter in things like not Imperium. So... That's very true. All right, enjoy.
It's 3 back. That's good.
See you later, Yo.
Bodes well for there being a continued game.
Which was the one that didn't come back?
The super one? No, just the script ball piece, which is super relevant here on defense, of course. The movement aid wrestle leap piece is a thing to be feared. So it's what, 10 on 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Yeah.
Yeah, they both had a bench of 1. and they're both missing 2 now. Yayo is going to see the mayor, apparently.
I believe he is the mayor.
Of Value Town.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he's the mayor of.
Oh, I see. I just read the commas weird. Like, I don't know, my brain did not parse that sentence very well because of the commas and the, like, spacing. I read it as, like, the mayor and I have a great night. Like, I'm going to have a great night with the mayor. And I was like, what does that mean? But it was, vote for me, the mayor. Have a great night is what that was supposed to be. And I just could not parse that for some reason because I am not a human being capable of understanding speech.
It's fair. But yeah, I think Fed's got a point there. For a quad skull and followed by a snake the turn after to not result in a turnover and like him losing possession of the ball in a permanent sense is perhaps indicative that things did not go well for Logos Money, mostly because he made decisions I think that were less than ideal. Look at me, being diplomatic.
You're probably one of the more diplomatic caster type people. Which sounds weird.
I don't like calling people garbage. Other than you.
Neither do I. But a lot of Blood Bowl folks do.
It's true. Everyone is shit except for me.
Pretty much.
No, I'm good at video games, but I'm only like above average at Blood Bowl, I think. I don't think I'm particularly good.
I'm only good at irrelevant games that no one cares about. You need some railways made in Railway Empire? Man, I am your guy. But I don't know if I could do anything else.
My skill in a video game is directly proportional to how angry it makes me. So my best games are like MOBAs and MMORPGs and things like that.
I feel like it is directly opposite for me.
Anger fuels me. I'm not allowed to play MOBAs anymore, though. Too mad all the time.
I mean, I used to be big into like competitive game stuff. Like I ran StarCraft tournaments for years. I was like the head of the esports society at my university. I like ran the biggest LAN event in the east coast of Canada. I helped organize and like participated in one of the biggest ones in Canada in Montreal. Like I've done a lot of competitive video game stuff, and then I just stopped caring about it. And now I was like, okay, well, I don't really care about video games being competitive anymore. I've done too much of that. I've done enough of that. Video games are only for fun now. And completely flipped the switch in my brain somewhere between 27 and now in terms of age. It just like I completely changed my mind on what my relationship with games was.
I see a pretty easy quick score here if
I have played Among Us like 3 times, and I am not really a fan, frankly, but that probably shouldn't surprise me.
It's not the sort of game I usually enjoy.
It just seems like a worse version of the party games that I play with like friends personally, like something like Secret Hitler or
Secret Hitler. Yeah, like all the like silly line games I enjoy, but I don't know. Among Us is not something that's really like.
Or 2 Rooms and a Boom is a really cool one. For parties and stuff.
We played. I went to PAX with Steak and a bunch of other people from my World of Warcraft guild at the time, and we played a bunch of One Night Ultimate Vampire.
Yeah, that was good. Fun. With like 15 people.
Mostly because we all got really drunk and we're all really bad liars, and a bunch of like just awkward nerds mostly. So it just like most of the time you had no idea what anyone's motivations were because they didn't know what their motivations were, and strategy wasn't something that was really being considered. So
the first night that we played it, I never did. I told the truth literally every time about everything. I never lied. Even if I was like the vampire, I was just like, yep, vampire. And people, so like when we played it the second night, everyone believed everything I said, and I did whatever I wanted. And it was amazing.
I think I had the opposite approach in which I lied constantly, even when it was actively detrimental to my cause.
I just literally never told a lie the entire first night. And then the second night I won everything because everyone believed everything I said. It was great.
Now, we've been talking a lot about Hades in the admin Discord. You haven't played that, right, Ben?
I have not. I see so many people thinking it's incredible. And I mean, probably is, frankly, but I just don't think it's something that I would actually enjoy playing, so I haven't bothered.
Yeah, I don't know. There's like I think you'd enjoy the, I don't think you're much for like button mashing, kind of
No.
not like bullet hell, because it's not really bullet hell, but it's like an action RPG kind of game. The leveling up is fun. It's very reminiscent of like, it's got a bit of like Binding of Isaac. It's got a bit of like Aghanim's Laboratory from Dota, like in terms of you clear a room and then you get a boon, and the boon is these not randomly generated, but like 3 from a list based on which god you have, and like it's fun because you can create really broken combos.
I mean, I don't.
It's almost like it's got a bit of like deck building like kind of thing to it. Like it's got almost like
You keep saying games that I either have not played or don't particularly enjoy. Like,
yeah, I mean that's fair. I don't think you'd really like it either. But people were like just listing like when they got their first clear, and I was like, oh, I cleared this a lot faster than one. But
I'm not even like I understand, like it's one of those weird things where I understand the game design is cool and that the art is cool and the story is cool and people like it, and I understand why people like it. I just don't want to play it, right? It's the same thing with Slay the Spire. Like, Slay the Spire is objectively an incredible game. I just don't care about it and don't want to play. Like, it doesn't do anything for me. But I do acknowledge that it's very good. I just don't want to put time into it.
I've played a lot of Slay the Spire, and I've played a lot of Binding of Isaac, and there's elements of both of those games in Hades. So I'm not surprised that I enjoyed it and did fairly well at it, but
I have played very little of both of those because I didn't particularly enjoy either one of them. So there you go.
So Logo's just trying to get in the way a little bit here. I don't know how effective that's going to be, but an attempt is certainly being made.
Yeah, so
because this is the easiest chain push in the world. You don't even need to chain push, strictly speaking. But
Logo is definitely in a weird spot, being down 1 on like your opponent's drive, especially when your opponent has a wizard, right? Like it's just so hard to play this correctly.
Trump didn't go for a quick score here. I think he had a decent opportunity to do so, like a 2 or a 3 turn.
I mean, I think either way, though, he has such an advantage, which is why it's so awkward for Logo.
Well, I think the only way you lose this is by a random turnover. Like,
yeah.
I mean, sure, there would have been opportunities to have the kind of critical snake there, but it doesn't snake that.
It's weird, right? It's like if Trunk scores really quickly, now Logo has 6 turns where he has to quick score if he wants a chance to win, but he has to quick score against a wizard, and then even if he does quick score and the wizard isn't used, he now has to turn over his opponent who has a wizard with like 2 turns left and still quick score to tie it. Like and if Trunk goes a bit slower.
Wait, why'd you go that way, Trunk? That was definitely wrong. 3+2+ out. At least you have the 2+ out of tackle.
Trunk says he was going to 2-turn it, but he won a 9 to block, and I think that was probably why we were talking about Hades instead of paying attention.
Oh, that's probably true.
And then if you take 4 turns to score or whatever, like it no matter what you do as Trunk here or as Logo, I guess, it's just really hard to come back against an opponent who's up 1-0 on their drive with a wizard.
And here's his shot, though. He does have a hit on the ball here.
Like, I think it's going to take either some like
it's a 3+ into tackle, so you do have the built-in reroll for a 1 die.
This is why we watched it, Stacey. It's 2 disgusting Dark Elf teams.
Nice.
I think
he gets the 2 die, gets the POW.
Oh, you're so far ahead.
Oh wow, I don't know how that happened.
Well,
I'll pause until the spicy things happen.
Like, we just dodged in the guard. Here comes the 2 die.
Yeah, I also saw that and I was like, is this sarcastic? And then I looked at it and I was like, it's 4-1. Oh, the final play made your day. I think people should go watch my game because it's hysterical. Do we have them hit on the ball yet, or are you still waiting?
Yeah, it just went loose. So we just went to turn 13 for Trunk.
Oh, goes for the pile on there. That's bold.
We have the ball again.
You had 2 pieces on the ball. I don't think you wanted to ever give that up. I know it's tempting to pile on the strength 4 piece, but this just gives it a free clear up.
Don't be piling on. Or whatever. I think that was too many negatives.
That's fine. I get the idea. In strength 4 blodge step we trust, I think is the name of this turn.
I mean, I would trust pretty strongly in strength 4 blodge step, frankly. Turns out that's not easy to knock over. It's much better than the standard in blodge we trust, because we also have a +1 strength and a step in addition.
We have a decent chance at getting a credible screen here. A 2+ now is all you need. Oh, which we fail.
Palm is stunned.
Oh, and we're fouling the palm. Gotta punish that piling on. Good taint shot. And a stun.
So we don't really have much in the way of assaults on the ball that Logo can make here.
Oh. All rats look the same anyway.
They do. Oh, Uber's game probably would have been interesting given that it was 1,000 TV and inducements or whatever.
Oh, I did kind of watch that. That's true.
See, this is Stacy's fault because he said Superfed's game and I was like, no, it was 4-1. Why would I watch that? And then gave up on looking at rats. It's all your fault. We are
haven't blitzed
uphill
yet. Why wouldn't we get a 1 die on the ball?
because we get an uphill on the ball.
Why wouldn't we get a
The last time I saw Morg on the field, I think, is when I induced him in the huge Jackman Memorial Cup as halflings. Fireball, lightning bolt, wizard, whatever. Zap.
Well, you need the removal to make that trivial. Still trivial, of course, but...
There we go. Now it's trivial.
And we get a surf for our troubles. I mean, well, no we don't. This is not the game for surfs, apparently.
No surfing. Four Frenzy Witch Elves, 0 surfs.
Yeah, I don't think trying to outbash the Nurgle with inducements is what you want to do. But did Morg do work? Because I do love Morg. I got to induce him once in one of the one-day tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, I think really this gave him just run away. Like, Nurgle hate fast things, so you kind of bait them into, like, moving or committing or whatever, and then you just leave, and then the Nurgle are like, well, shit, I can't actually do anything now. And generally, you might have to, like, bust a hole somewhere to do that, so Glart is really important, and then, like, a wizard and some bench.
In general, Nurgle struggle really hard if rats have a bench. Like, if you can't literally remove all the rats, it's very, very hard for them to win that matchup.
It is the same for pretty much any Agi matchup as Nurgle, really. The exception are, like...
wasn't that the one Fed where we were talking about, like, his options, and we were like, oh, we should induce, like, both Gutter Runners and Glart. What's that package cost? What's 2 Gutters, Glart, and a Wizard? And we were like, oh, yeah, this is totally what we should do. And then he got Morg.
Yep. Nurgle against any team that has, like, a decent amount of movement, 8 or higher, is that, right? Like...
No, Dr. Hep is playing Final Fantasy Online.
Kill them, or else you lose.
Yeah, that's not what I would have done. I think putting that many inducements into a player that relies on, being big and having armor against a Nurgle team is bold.
That's a kick. Well, it's a touchback.
Why would you have an extra Apo for a team with no players?
To power Apo, the important one?
You can't Apo Morg, so...
That's true, yeah. Logo just aiming for the real quick score here.
Yep.
Which he has to do if he wants a chance to tie this, so it makes a whole lot of sense.
No, I mean, 2 turning does not give you a chance to tie it.
It does, but not a good one.
Unless you get a riot, I guess. You can get a riot.
I mean, probably, yeah. I mean, I guess you would have wanted...
You can't counter 1 turn as a defensive player. I mean, I guess you could get a blitz.
You can. Have you not seen Morka do it?
I have actually seen. I've seen Morka do it, and I've seen the halfling coach do it.
Monty?
Monty, yeah.
Or do you mean like
he
Mr.
did a turn
Christie?
0 halfling score.
Yeah. My stays.
My stays? Oh. Anyway, so a blitz could, of course, give you the counter score technically.
Yeah, but like so what he really wanted to do ideally, I guess, would be 1 turn here, right? But given that the LOS was sidestep and strength 4, like it's not exactly easy.
Yeah, trunk set up to
make that harder.
Make that very difficult. Yeah.
Everyone is just commenting about how the person before was wrong. It was this person. No, it was this person. In this thing. No, in this thing.
Lumi, I looked at that game and I was like, that was one of those times we were like, there's no way Lumi loses, and then you goddamn lost.
Well, I mean, I watched a good chunk of it, and there was just several points where he didn't have any vampires, which kind of makes that hard.
I didn't ask for excuses. I asked for Lumi to win the goddamn game. He's the only person who cost me a point this week. Otherwise, I had an incredible week. This happens every time I get too confident in Lumi's vampires. There's always a chance that vampires will vampire themselves.
I mean, it was more that there weren't any vampires to do any vampiring.
So it's more that they got vampired than... Oh,
vampired?
Okay,
well. Oh, you got it. Okay. Well, doesn't matter. Nice catch, idiot. Now you're in the KO box.
Well, easy pick 2+ off tackle into a 2+ to score. Oh, you can push him away actually.
Yeah.
Roll a 1 and 9, so you don't have to 2+. Technically correct.
I mean, it seems weird, but I mean, I think it's certainly better.
I mean, I rolled a 1 in 9able block before scoring once, and my opponent was like, "That's greedy," and I was like, "It's technically less likely to fail than the." It was like a 1 in 81 because I had a reroll versus a 1 in 36 to snake the dodge. I'm like, it's technically correct. It wasn't greed, I swear.
I swear it wasn't greed. Well, yeah. See, the great part about not really caring very much is that people are like, that was greedy. I'm like, no, it was just me being stupid. And everyone has
you assumed there was intent behind those moves.
Yeah. So this is your...
I was just clicking on pieces and seeing what happened.
Yeah, this is the benefit of having that reputation, is that people will argue about it. It's the one benefit of that. It's like, why did you do this? I'm like, I don't know, because I'm an idiot. And they're like, oh, okay. It's great. It's the one benefit. So
my game this week was just endlessly being me being like, I've worked out a way to sack this ball, and I'm very clever, and then promptly rolling a 1.
Look at this very clever thing I did, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to use the Agi 5 Leap Rat to finally do some Agi 5 Leap Rat shenanigans, and she just rolled endless 1s, unfortunately. As is the way.
This is the way.
Failed literally the first leap she ever attempted, so.
Well done.
Yeah, Princess Bubblegum. Son of a bitch.
I really like the idea of a gutter runner who are like, they're in lore, they are literally like assassins, sneaky, poisoning, stab you in the dark during, while you're sleeping in your bed at night, assassins named Princess Bubblegum.
You're welcome.
The most feared assassin in all of the Empire, Princess Bubblegum.
No, it's pretty good.
Stalks the streets of Nuln.
Well, now I have to fight like 1,800 Dark Elves with 0 tackles and 0 tackle and 0 blitzers, because both of my blitzers are out next week. So,
what's it like not having tackle on a team? I have no idea.
I actually do have tackle because my block movement busted Lino rolled normals, and I was like, well, fuck this. I'm taking tackle.
I have 1 tackle, and
I might fire it afterwards. I was like, you've just been promoted to positional. Congratulations.
you are now a line rat who matters.
For this game, at least. But it's at least I get a wizard, and he has like an Agi 6 movement up, sure hands ball carrier. So I'm very glad that I have a wizard.
It's gonna roll a 1.
So against Soul, I think I think we recapped for Soul's team, or I've seen it around at least. I don't remember why.
Soul of Dragon's Fire, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, I've also played him in Clan before. Speaking of Clan, the feedback forms and stuff went out, and like the new rules for next season were announced, and like reading the summary of the feedback forms, basically it's like 2 times as many people like this as didn't like it, and like every case where that was like the thing, I was the one when I didn't like it. Like every time where it's like almost everybody likes this except for a few people, I was the few people in every case.
Yeah, you are a contentious bastard.
Apparently they were like, most people wanted to like keep overtime gone. I'm like, I liked overtime better. It's like everybody says the powers are okay, and I'm like, I don't like the free powers. It's like everything that I said that I didn't like are things that are staying because everybody else
made a lot
fun.
of weeks feel kind of samey.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I think I fought a good variety of coaches, I think everything felt samey mostly because I looked at everything and I was like, well, I've got a 1700 orc team, so I don't care. I think I can beat most teams. I'm like, don't give me the rats with a wizard, please. But other than that,
That's very true. Well, no, not necessarily in Clan. I play Clan for the draft meta stuff, because that is interesting to think about. I'd really like
y'all
drafting.
should tune into the next role-playing session for surprise reasons.
Or is it? You're not even in the Discord for it?
Yeah, well.
Okay.
That's why it's a surprise.
It is November 7th. The next one.
1800 UTC.
I do enjoy the meta drafting aspect. Like I feel like I think there's maybe only 1 or 2 drafts ever in Clan that I feel like I didn't win, quote, like I didn't get matchups that I wanted because I planned them out very, very seriously. And that's the part I enjoy a lot. And the ties, the no overtime and the free powers are the things that affect the draft aspect the most. And that's the part that I care about the most. So that's why I don't like it as much. But it doesn't really matter too much to me. And if everybody wants to have it the other way, that's fine. I don't really care. It's just the part that I like is the draft. And the things that change how the draft works are the weird stuff for me. Anyway, so it's 2-1 to Trunkhead, which you predicted and I did not. So that's the point for you. That will be a trend
for the week.
It is, yeah.
Spoilers made 12 points on Ben this week. Yeah, I think my biggest complaint that I submitted was that I felt the R&R is fine, but I think blood sacrifice is straightforwardly broken.
I just dislike that everybody has the same power set, right? It's here's your set of your free powers. You now have 100k to buy powers that cost 100k, and everybody was like, okay, last minute switch is really good, so I take that, and that's my entire bank. So I think every clan but one in Div 2 had the exact same power set, which is super boring.
Fair.
And nobody took hatred of public transport or confusion because they weren't part of the free power set, and those are the things that interact with drafts mostly, right? So because your budget was limited because you got so many free powers, right? So normally what I would do, in previous seasons, I'd take stuff like NR&R and a sacrifice, blood sacrifice, and then stuff that affected the draft like confusion and last minute switch. but like every single clan had the same powers, and that kind of I think helping new clans figure out the powers by giving them a base set is fine. I think the base set should be reduced, and there should be more available to, like, if every clan got like an RNR and an EIC and then got like 250 to spend on powers or something, that's fine.
I think the idea of free powers is good, but I think the degree to which they are fixed is like the balance is shifted too much towards them being fixed.
It was in Div 2, I don't know, it was probably different in Div 1 given that they had more money for it, but in Div 2 it was every single clan, here's your free set of powers and you get 150k. LMS costs 150k. LMS is really good. Done. There was like one clan in Div 2 that didn't have the exact same set of powers.
We get 300k in Div 1 where I'm going and you're not. And that will make for slightly more interesting choices. I like Assassination, honestly. There's so many big teams in Div 1 that I think the Assassin is like got a lot more value.
That's why the Bash teams tend to get higher taxes, right? Like, so increasing the taxes of Bash teams and removing overtime is pretty serious in terms of like the effectiveness. But like, I don't even care about like the actual individual game. I more care about the team building and the draft aspects of it, right? Before, when you were drafting, you had to consider, we need to win as many of these games as possible. Like, we need to win 3 of these games to win the week, right? Whereas now you only need to win 1. So you can draft for draws with one really, really, really favored game. And then if anybody else wins, it's a bonus. It's putting a lot of pressure on one person, but like, if that's just an example, right? It changes the draft meta really strongly because you don't care about losing anymore. You can have drafts that are playing for ties rather than playing for winning. And you can also do stuff like take a really swingy but low TV or high taxes, like, or high refund team, like Underworld or Vampires or something, like something you get a high tax refund for that is pretty swingy. So if you get lucky, you can tie pretty much anybody. And then you just throw them against the bad matchup every week, and if they tie, it's a win. And then you can take all the extra money that they're giving your clan and just make a massive lizard team or orc team or something that then just tries to win every week.
Shuffle our massive orc and lizard teams behind my back.
I really don't like that as a concept.
I think our Underworld were too swingy. Like, our Underworld team had like a pretty bad record, I think, at the end of the season. So I think we're switching off of that. But I think.
Oh, good to hear that you found a clan, Unseen Walker. Well, that's why they like Undead are getting pushed to tier 1. Orcs and Lizards are both tier 1, or Orcs are tier 2, or Lizards are
which clan did you join, Unseen Walker?
I was going to say, if you didn't find one, I'd be totally willing, if you wanted to just hang out in ours, you can, but you would probably have to be stuck as a 6 coach. But if you found one, that's great. It's more about, I don't like what it does to the draft and the team building.
All right, let's get to the recap, though, before I...
Yeah. Is you can do weird stuff with what teams you build, and I don't like not planning the games around having to win, right? Like, playing for a draw is a weird thing that I don't like in clan.
Hey, it's Ben's Steam library.
Sure is. It's not terribly exciting.
I've played against Dash a couple of times. I am in Rotter, and Steak is in Thick. I used to be in Thick, and then I abandoned them.
Mm-hmm. There are 2 original members in Thick.
Mm-hmm. I'm still in the clan Discord, though.
Yeah. So let's start.
Shall we start with Div 1 just to be consistent?
Yep. Wrath of Nuffle and Ordinary Elves. The Ordinary Elves won that 2-0.
Yeah, like we said, Cullen's team is not very set up for anti-elfing. Like, it's got a couple of tackle, but it's only tackle Mighty Blow as a warrior, which is pretty slow. It did get 2 Kaz and 2 more from Spartacus, so 4 Kaz in total. But on only 24 blocks, even though he got a decent amount of removals off those blocks, wasn't enough to totally swing things in his favor. 24 blocks into 12 breaks is quite good. And then into 5 removals is maybe a tiny bit low, but all in all, like, especially as 4 of them were Kaz's, like, can't complain about that.
Treeman got badly hurt.
Yeah, I mean, as Treeman often do in Calamity Blow matches, and a random rookie catcher died, which is unfortunate.
Gotta catch them all died. That's my team.
It is your team. I don't know why.
Please stand up. Badly hurt, and the other ones are just from the loners, so nothing
Why
terrible.
does Holding have a player named after your team?
I don't know if it's named after my team or not, but who knows?
But it doesn't fit his theme at all. I'm so confused.
What theme?
Ordinary elves? I don't know.
I mean, most of them are linemen.
Well, most of them are loners, strictly speaking.
I mean, Glorfindel and Fëanor are both elves from Lord of the Rings.
Anyway, looks like a good elf game. Was able to steal the ball. Perhaps using a wizard. I think the TV was giving the elves a wizard, which usually will do the trick. So
we had Skirgle and the Bogue Bombers. We thought this one was going to be rough for the humans. They were just going to get punched to death. And boy, howdy, were we ever correct on that one.
Stacy, you monster.
That is 10 Kaz?
Jesus Christ.
10?
I mean, on the plus side, only one perm that matters.
Off of 37 blocks? I played my game this week and got 58 blocks and got 1 Kaz. You get 37 blocks into 10. What the fuck?
Yeah, I did know that if you get more than more than 9 Kaz, they start to spill over to the KO. I actually did know that. Because it was done to me, I think by you. It was either you or Louis Wano.
Well, Fudge, fun fact, the inspiration for Onions, is out MNG'd. Griff Clooney Jr., one of the better blitzers, is dead, which is a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only perm that matters, but your team's not looking great for next week.
No, well, I mean, the real strength of this team was pretty much that it had the core of 4 like really solid position playing blitzers. Like you had the Palmer, you had the Juggernaut one, you had the support one, you had the guard one, or like they all had their own role. And now we've lost 2 of them over the last 5 weeks or whatever, and we're down to just 2. And so we're missing now like some of those role playing positions, which is kind of rough.
You can start to cascade fail for sure.
Yeah, he gets his thrower back, but he's going to be out his best catcher. He's missing a blitzer. He's going to be out his ogre.
Fudge, the inspiration for Onions.
Out of Fudge. Sorry for the inconvenience, but we is out of Fudge. Have you seen that picture?
No.
It's like on a it was some drive-through fast food restaurant, and there's like the intercom system where you put in your orders. I don't even know what the restaurant was, but there's just a handwritten note on it that said like, sorry for the inconvenience, but we is out of ham. Like just pasted over the intercom, and that sentence is just really funny to me. So I think of it often. 2 Appos, they both failed. Well, I mean, when you kill the entire team, you can kind of do whatever you want, and I feel like that's what happened. 1 TD coming on the block.
I like that whatever you want is 2-0 for Nurgle.
Yeah, that's pretty good for Nurgle. Often whatever you want is 2-1 or 1-0.
The only game I lost in Clan this season was me getting 3-0'd by Kemery, which I thought was pretty fun.
I got 4-0'd by Lizards. Is the only game I lost.
Yeah, but Lizards are movement 8. Whatever. That's fine.
It was also the most ridiculous dice thing I've ever seen. Like every kickoff event was like, okay, well I'm behind. I need to position this way and try to like, okay, I got a blitz. Excellent. I will everything I tried to like come back from being down, like do the risky thing to fix the fact that you're behind, failed and made it worse. So that kept spinning. Like I've got to do that again, and then it made it worse. It was so bad. But yeah, so that's really rough for B-Dog, and that was probably pretty frustrating to play, frankly. But Stacy won, which is great for him.
I think on the whole, Fed, you're probably happy the Palm tackle blitzer is out.
He got three passes from Alphabet Row.
Yeah,
that's Nurgle doing what they want there. It's vanity passing.
And then we have All Stars of Chaos versus Gourmet Governors, a greatly disappointing game. Locust had 3 players expelled for fouling and still won handily, which tells me there probably weren't very many players left at the end of this game.
The real problem is there weren't very many vampires for a large chunk of the game, which is kind of the biggest
15
issue.
Removals sustained by the vampires, so
yeah,
that'll do it.
I mean, Illumi tried really hard. I watched a lot of this, but he just didn't have enough players to get things done that he needed to. And there was a number of situations where Locust left something open, Lumi tried to take advantage of it, and then just didn't have the resources to actually like follow through on what he was doing. Like, I can get a 2-die block here pretty easily, and then but I've got like 2 players, right? So what do you do about it?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's unfortunate, but
yeah, there were no vampires on the field by the end of the game.
Just kept getting KO'd or Kaz'd and regened, I guess, because only one of them shows badly hurt here. But
yeah, pretty much. I'm like if they're off the field, that's kind of what matters.
Off the field, it's good enough. Yeah.
Stacy almost got 3-0, but he failed picking up the ball for a turn.
I feel real bad for you. Volcanu versus Ragedorf, a 1-1 tie. Unseen Walker.
Unsurprising.
Hey, look, you did sustain a blitzer perm, and man, that does suck a little bit. But hey, nothing died, and it was an undeveloped blitzer, so
yeah,
could be worse.
I mean, that could have.
Looks like Furiousdorf lived up to his name. Went on a bit of a tear.
Got a hobgoblin.
I love that Insane Dwarf is only level 4. It's just like he's got so many levels to gain still. Who knows what's next?
Well, he's strength, mighty blow strength.
6 AV breaks. That's true. You did not punch very well. You did kill a blocker for your trouble, so
I know the feeling, Unseen Walker. I know the feeling.
Most of the breaks you did get counted, so that's something. But yeah, you did get a little outpunched here. 29 armor breaks sustained. Wow, you got stunned a lot, which is good because man, 29 breaks into 5 removals is a thing.
How many thick skulls mattered? That's the real question.
Furiousdorf does seem to be the only one doing his job.
Probably a lot, given the number of stuns. So we got the touchdown coming on Hellsdorf as sort of expected. The one from Volcano came on the Bull Centaur, but not the ball carrying Bull Centaur, which is interesting. He also got the MVP, so he's 4 away from leveling, which is fun.
I mean, this just looks like both teams scoring on their drive, but
pretty
not
much
being able to get much done other than that.
That's basically what I would have expected from this game, frankly, if there wasn't crazy snowball removals from one side or the other.
We did say that it had tie written all over it, yeah.
Voltrex Vanguard and Chaos is Magic, Ramaset and Chaos Subalu.
You killed 2 Dwarfs, but one got better. Nice.
Oh. Disco Dwarf and Rainbow Dwarf were both leveled.
Yeah, I think I said that Voltrex would win this. Yes, I did.
I think we both did.
Because I was looking at it and I was like, it might be a tie, but I was like, if someone does win, it's probably going to be Voltrex.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, the Bull Centaurs they're good, but they're not like, none of them, like tackle or whatever. So the Chorfs are pretty easily like run aroundable. And
I think this was break tackle not being a thing on Discordorf. Because I think Discordorf has now taken break tackle and now is a true terror. But
oh man,
I think it was relevant in this game.
Yeah, Discordorf's next level will be tackle probably, and then you'll have a true nightmare of a safety, which is such a important bit that Chaos Dwarfs are often missing. Right, it's not terribly difficult to run away from blockers, and then most of their team is kind of not that relevant. Especially if you can just screen off a Bull Centaur or something, because they're speedy but agi too. But it turns out strength 5 break tackle with dodge is pretty good. So it's sort of what I would have expected here, in that the elves won, but the Chorfs got a bunch of Kaz on the elves while the elves were winning. But they just couldn't really stop the elves from winning.
Nothing permanent though. The only MNG even is on a rookie catcher, so I think Ramaset's going to be very happy with that result. Yeah,
it's pretty much like putting the elves you don't care about as much in the way or whatever, and then the dwarves can't really do much other than hit those elves. So you lose those elves, but you still win the game. And
and I'm sure that Chaos Ulu is happy that she managed to level the Bull Centaur, so I don't think anyone's too sour about this match, but yeah. I mean, probably one of the best players in Div 1, honestly. Bull Centaurs are disgusting pieces, and a Blodge Strength 5 one is, extra disgusting.
It really is. Uber and Stouticus. This is all the loners.
I love it.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4 non-loners played in this match.
Alright, so Morg existed, eventually got Kaz, but also got a Kaz, so, went 1 for 1 at least. Though... No, yeah, that was the only Kaz.
Good job, Morg.
Yeah, doing his best. Other than that, really not a heavy damage game.
No,
because I guess how Stouticus was unable to win.
Well, the thing is,
9 KOs, so everything just went dong. Yeah, I know. Not the value deal.
I mean, there was probably also a good chunk of KOs that came from there was
I
zero
think he's
KOs.
actually more like 400k, but I might be wrong there.
He's 400. Well, I think it was like he's adding Glart and Morg together. But yeah, I really though. I think Uber probably could have won this if he did something different with the inducements, because Nurgle hate fast rats, and especially Nurgle that are even slower than normal, because like
Morg is 430.
Two of those Nurgle warriors are movement 3, right? And there's only one tackle on Outsouffled. So if we went like heavy into the like wizard, here's a bunch of linemen in the way, Glart, and then like one of the gutter runners or whatever, and just straight up put some line rats in the way and ran, we probably could have 2-turned like a couple times to win this, I think. Still really well done that he managed to get the tie out of it, but I think if he went different inducements, it probably would have been easier to win, but it also would have been easier to lose, like higher variance maybe. But he got the tie out of it, so it's hard to complain too much. Double badly hurt. The injury is on a rotter. Nobody cares. Jelly Roll My levels, which is this is a really scary level to roll as your ball carrying Pestigor, because this is where he becomes either good or you have to start taking the skills that you don't want to take because you didn't roll something better.
Wait. Who forgot to score on turn 16? I phased out because someone pinged me.
Apparently, oh, he got dodged. Well, there you go. That's the thing, right? If you have a Nurgle Pestigor ball carrier who's blocked sure hands, you're like, I need doubles, I need agi, I need movement, because any normal is where you just start taking fake agi, right? You would take extra arms or
so Stout had this in the bag and then forgot to score.
Wow, oh no. Nice. Wow.
Poor bastard.
I've done that.
Hurt his chances of being the
Stoutica should have won 2-1. Oh wow.
That makes a lot of sense given the KO line, but
yeah. I've done that before too. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's done something very dumb at one point, but man, that it feels bad. But
I did the not knowing the wizard ended your turn thing in college, I think. Or maybe minors.
I think it was minors. I forgot it was turn 8. Like I was like, well, I'll just I can stall, and then it was against like vampires. I think like Poetics vampires maybe. And then I needed to just score on turn 8, and that was the drive, right? And then I just like moved stuff around into blocks and forgot it was turn 8. There you go. And barbecue's
you still made playoffs that season with a negative touchdown differential.
Sure did. I needed the last match of the season to specifically be a tie. If either one of them won, they would have overtaken me in points. But if they tied, neither of them overtook me in points, because both of them would have gotten 1 instead of one of them getting 3, because it was exactly 2 ahead of both of them. So they had to tie for me to make it, and they did, which is great. Superfed won over Barbecue Gamer 4-1. This is more what I expect when I think of rats with some inducements against a slower team. But Superfed also has some real serious gutter runners that Uber does not anymore. Right, so we could score more quickly and we could stop getting punched more quickly, but we also have to take more line blocks, but that's what line rats are for. Suffered 5 KOs and 3 Kaz. One of them was Apode, which is not too bad, but not really enough to get the Marley Brinks or Carter Cruz off the field for those 4 touchdowns that occurred. Any MVP goes to the one turning gutter runner as well. So given that it is a one turner, the 30 SPP they need is not really that far off. That's 10 touchdowns. If you can't get 10 touchdowns in 8 weeks with a natural one turner, I don't know what you're doing. So we might see another legend rat by the end of the season, which would be kind of fun. Marley Brinks is almost there as well, so maybe he focuses on that one first. I don't know, because it's closer. But I
don't think looking for levels is really where Fed's at right now.
No, not particularly.
I mean, both of those places are based. Both of those pieces, I should say, are done. Like leveling Marley is nice. Like, what do you even take there, though?
Kick.
Oh, kick. Yeah, that's fair.
It's a piece that you want to protect forever, and your last level doesn't really add anything, so you might as well have an important skill. And also, it's only 10 SPP away, which is why I say it's like closer, or maybe more important is that's only a vanity pass and 3 touchdowns. And so that's technically one game if Fed really wants to, depending on what the matchup is like. And then Barbecue's pit crew, 3 Kaz came from Beef Ribs, which puts Beef Ribs 3 SPP away from leveling. A level on the Agi Hobgoblin is kind of fun because they could take Sure Hands and start being the real ball carrier, and then we could fire Cornbread. Pork Belly also levels. That's just going to be, Dirty Player, probably. Yep. I think that's Div 1, so we can look at the leaderboard. And so Superfed now sits at the top of the leaderboard, tied with Ramaset, both with 3-1. Mongoose is 2 points behind, so a win would put him in first, 2-2. Assuming, the other ones lose, of course. Holing is 3 behind with 2-1-1, and then it becomes more than a game behind after that with Luminous, Stacy, Kiasubalu, and Barbecue Gamer, all with the exact same record of 1-2-1. And we have Stouticus, Unseen Walker, Uber, and Cullen, who have yet to pick up a win, but have a bunch of ties to their name. So hopefully we can see that change for the course of the rest of the season. I am not surprised at all. I mean, it's a cycle. Some seasons, big bash teams are going to dominate, and then the Agi teams will catch up, and the bash teams will slow down, and depends on what teams are around. I'm not terribly surprised about it. And, if there's a lot of, if there's 5 Nurgle teams in a division, one of the Nurgle teams is probably going to be up there because one Nurgle team is going to beat up the other Nurgle teams, and is because they're just going to be better at the bash matchups, and there's a lot more bash matchups when they're bash heavy, right? So, and
you can do pretty well by tying the Agi or at least holding your own and then beating up the other kill teams.
But something with Skaven, Human, Vamps, Wood Elves, High Elves, Skaven, you need to beat one of those teams or you're not being in the top 4 ever. Anyway, so we predict one now. So Rage Dwarf and Ordinary Elves, Holing and Unseen Walker. Holing is 1570, Unseen Walker is 1890. So we have
it's Elves with a Wizard.
320. Elves with the Wizard plus. Well, I mean, these are the elves that are 4 elves.
Yeah, so elves with a wizard and an elf probably.
It's this is a team with 3 elves in a tree, and it gets 300k against a full dwarf team. That's how big these elves are. It's that's not really that much given there's only 4 players.
I mean, who was the wood elf coach that was doing that before?
Archangel.
That was Archangel. Yeah.
Archangel had more players than this though.
Archangel definitely had 4 players at some point.
Yeah, but he had 4 or 5 because he had a couple linemen kicking around. This is literally 3 players in a tree. It's 2 war dancers, a catcher, and a tree. Archangel had a thrower, a catcher, a war dancer, and a couple line elves, I think. At the worst.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, so the strength 4 war dancer with strip ball is nice, but not really that relevant. Honestly, it's more relevant in other games. If any team is going to cage up with guard on all the corners and walk forward slowly, it is dwarves. So we're never really going to get better than a 1 die on the blodge ball carrier. Well, that's what I sort of said.
More flexible ones, and that's bizarre as a sentiment, I think. But
that's sort of what I said when I mentioned in previous seasons when there was 4 Nurgle teams. Some of the teams are better at just beating up on bash, so the teams when there are more bash in the division like that, the teams that are better at beating up on bash will do more because there's several teams competing for that spot.
Or the teams that are the best bash team does well, or the ones that are a little more flexible.
Yeah.
Like Chorfs.
Well, I think that's why you see the Div 1, the top of Div 1, you'll often see Nurgle, Chorf, one of the better punch kill teams, or the more flexible punch kill team, or one of the Agi coaches, right? How often have you seen Undead or Orc or or Dwarf, a classically bashy team, but probably not the best at doing that at the top of Div 1, right? Like it tends to be Chorf or Nurgle, sometimes Chaos. Anyway, we should predict these. We did say we wanted to do this faster, and we keep talking about silly things. You talked about Hades for like 10 minutes.
I did talk about Hades for like 10 minutes. I like that game. I think it is like a weird.
Now you've started again.
Just for you.
So there are 11 dwarves, so there's no bench. So elves of the wizard and Eldril versus these dwarves is basically what we've got. I think the one thing that is going to be weird is that so many of the elves are going to be loners, and if Unseen Walker plays this by just like marking up loners with stuff, there are very few. There's almost no reliable actions that Holing can do, if that makes sense, right? Most of
But I don't think Holing needs reliable actions. Like this game is going to be decided really quickly. It's going to be do the Wood Elves, Wizard Eldril, and steal the ball and score. If so, they win the game. Do they do that before they implode or start failing things? Like that's all that matters.
Yeah. Do the elves win too? And like,
do they play keep away and like avoid getting totally pulverized long enough to pull that off?
Do the elves win 2-1, 3-2, or lose 2-1?
I think 2-1 is the most likely score line. Against dwarves, but it's
I just think that he's never going to have anything he can do for free, because he has 3 players that dodge. They're always going to be dodging off tackle if they have to dodge, and every other player that he would activate first as loner. So if you like do anything that requires a dice roll, you basically have to be ready to commit. You have to be really, 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 really careful with turn ordering, I think, in this matchup as Holing, is my point.
Yeah, you have to play like a good, clean game. But I think that Wood Elves are very good at that and good at this kind of game, which is why you see the like 1200 TV Wood Elf team do well in Div 1 year after year until like they have a round of particularly bad dice and their War Dancers die.
I think you're correct in that it depends on whether the Wizard Eldril turns into a touchdown or not, and it's basically impossible to predict that ahead of time. I will pick Ragedorf because I'm going to predict that Unseen Walker's armor dice go the other way this time, and he just kills the elves before they can do that.
I believe in Holing.
I mean, I'd be super happy with either prediction, frankly, because it depends so much on the Wizard Eldril. I think it's impossible.
And also Holing loves the one turn. Does Unseen Walker have enough to stop the one turn? Enough stand firm?
He has 2, 3. He has 3. 4.
3 would do it,
4.
Assuming that none of them are removed.
He has 4.
Okay, so 4. Does grab counter? Doesn't matter because you can't chain push on grab.
Grab counters side step,
but not stand firm.
Stand firm is countered by Juggernaut.
Yes. So one turning is off the table unless he removes several stand form.
I think this is like pretty impossible to predict like very accurately because it depends so much on whether injuries happen or Wizard works. And I'm just gonna assume that injuries happen. I think he's due for them. It's the gambler's fallacy. I'm accepting it. Ramazet and Luminous. This could be fun.
That is a fun one. Elves can do quite well against vampires. Movement is a thing.
Absolutely. These are pretty speedy vampires, though. The elves do get 350.
Well, that sounds like Eldril Wizard to me.
And because of that, so Lumi has 1 bench because he's missing 3 thralls from the absolute like pounding he took last week. I was trying to phrase that in like a more PG way, and then the word pounding came out instead of like frankly my first thought was skull fucked, but I didn't want to like go with that as my opening salvo. And then I tried to turn it down and gave up at pounding. But he's got a bench of 1, right, which is not a whole lot, and he can't increase that because he has no money and he's not the underdog. So this, if anything, this feels like a game where the vampires are going to vampire themselves, and it's going to be way harder to mitigate that than it is in other games where he has more of a bench and potentially like something he can do about it. Like if they bite or he fails things or whatever, or he loses players, like he just doesn't have any outs, you know? So I'm going to take Ramaset. This is almost one of those ones where.
Yeah, that one's a bit tougher, but I think I don't know. Every time I'm like every time I think that Lumi's vampires won't beat a blodge heavy team, it just doesn't work out, and like he crushes them, and then I'm just gonna pick Lumi. It's
okay.
Fine. Most of the time, if you pick Lumi, you're right. So I'm just gonna go with that.
If the vampires make a vampire thing happen, and the elves are in a good position to take advantage of that most of the time compared to like a bash team, and he doesn't have very many outs given there just aren't any thralls that are left over if anything happens to them. Okay.
Yeah, but every single time I'm like, oh, Lumi should lose this, he wins. So I'm just going to lean into that fallacy.
And it's time for the smell off between Stauticus and Stacy.
Do we have to watch this? Because we haven't watched a Nurgle mirror yet.
We might need to.
Can we just get 2 Nurgle out with one stone?
Yeah, we haven't watched either of them yet, so that may be the thing. And even if it is a blowout, that'll still be fun to watch because it's going to be one Nurgle team beating up on another Nurgle team, and who doesn't want to see that?
Is it going to be a 1-1 tie where not much happens, or is it going to be a blowout where it's a 0-0 tie and one team gets pulverized?
Well, every Nurgle mirror I've ever seen has been neither of them do anything to each other except for KOs or injuries where regens work on their own drive, and then they tie 1-1 because they beat each other up on their own drive. Like that's what happens every time. Okay, well let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 guard on Stauticus's team. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on Stacy. Stauticus has 1, 2, 3 Claw Mighty Blow. Stacy.
So Stauticus has the damage. Stacy has the pitch control.
Yeah, but Stauticus only has the damage barely.
Yeah, well, Stacy only has the pitch control barely.
Well, he also has Wrestle Tackle, Movement 7, Agi 4, which contributes to the pitch control significantly, given that
and the Beast having Stand Firm Guard is nice as well.
Yeah,
makes him a lot more of a relevant piece in this matchup.
Right.
What's the bench situation like?
So Stauticus has been playing this team forever and is very good at it. That's the other question. 1, 2. So Stauticus has 15 players, and Stacy has 14 players. So
both have extremely heavy benches. So I'm going to go with the team that's better at rolling Kaz, which is Stacy.
Given what he did last week, yeah. I mean, I think I'm going to take.
I have personal experience with Stacy's.
So do I. He did it to me too, and I'm also Nurgle. He did the same thing to me, and I am Nurgle as well.
Team. He did it with this team to my Chaos team like 4 seasons ago.
He did it to my current team with this team 1 season ago.
Nice.
Or 2 seasons ago.
You were like 1,400 Nurgle against 2,000 TV Nurgle.
I mean, that's true, but yeah, like slightly like it's hard. This could very easily go either way, but there's very small things that I think tip it for Stacy for me, like a little bit more pitch presence potentially. Higher TV as a Nurgle team is basically always where you want to be. That's countered a little bit because I've seen Stauticus play a lot of Nurgle and he's very good at it. And I mean, Stacy is obviously good at it as well, being in Div 1. But it gets really hard to say which way this could go because it depends on some random things. But I will take Stacy. Cullen and Barbecue Gamer. This is going to be a bit better for Cullen. He's the Chaos team that's that's like built for taking on other punchy teams. Rather than Agi, and Barbecue Gamer is
nice
very similar.
He has a lot of Claw Mighty Blow.
Correct. And Guard.
It actually has a lot of Guard. He's got 6 Guard, which is quite a bit for a Chaos team.
It turns out, 6 Guard and 4 Claw Mighty Blow don't win you matches against elves, but they win you matches against like Chaos and Dwarves and stuff.
Yeah. So Barbecue has 1 Claw Mighty Blow, has 5 other Mighty Blow blockers, and Mighty Blow against goats does things eventually, and one of them is even Palm, but the kill is very heavily in the Chaos's favor, and the Chaos get inducements. They get
200,
a clean 200k, 210.
Yeah,
that could be an extra Apo. What's the bench situation like? Apple Double Babe. You could go Wizard, but you don't really have a good Wizard option.
Agi 4 Beast, but
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't hate the Wizard, because especially considering how clumped up these teams are likely to get. But
if you're gonna bank heavily on the like removal plan, you're gonna want to get in there and fighting. So I would be real tempted to go like Apple Double Babe to sort of counteract.
The only thing about this match is that the bench is quite heavily in the Chorf favor.
Yeah, and it's
not super heavily, I guess. The Chorfs have one more bench.
The engagement time is a bit weird too, right?
No, they did skip a number, so they are actually only 12.
The Chorfs have, they've got a bunch of guard, and it's likely to be all stuck together and hard to like break into. But as soon as that like break in happens, the Chaos will start removing Chorfs, and then the Chorfs will be sad, and then they snowball and lose.
Yeah, and Colin's team only has 2 naked goats. The rest of them have at least block, so there's not going to be as much casual blocker removal in the scrum, I think. So I think I like Cullen for this, though. It's really a lot of it's going to come down to how the bash game goes.
That's how I feel too. So this match I was looking forward to and thought I was going to be pretty excited to see, because like humans can do things against Skaven, right? They're speedy. They've got some dodge and stuff.
It's a really tough matchup for Skaven.
And they've got a lot of strength access that other teams that can keep up with Skaven normally don't have. However, the humans don't have any players anymore, which makes that a bit awkward. Like Superfed is inducement rats and doesn't get inducements. I mean, he's not inducement rats anymore, but he used to play like that, and he's very used to playing like that.
He still plays very, very often in the inducement rat role.
Well, he's often
other than kick.
Well, at 1540 TV, he's often down TV to other Div 1 teams, right? But now he's up, which is a pretty big deal. You know, whatever, it depends on what your like opinion of Superfed's playstyle is, I guess. But maybe he's very used to playing with inducements at this point. Thanks to the follow, Moostert. I mean, obviously Superfed can definitely play without inducements, but I feel like he's played a lot more with inducements at these like relatively high TVs. So that may be something that he has to think about a bit harder than normal. This is difficult. So the humans get nothing really. They get 60k. Which doesn't matter too much. He's got the thrower, so he has the sure hands, which is a start. Having that back is good. There's the 1 diving tackle, which is not irrelevant. No palm, but there is block tackle mighty blow attached to movement 6, sadly. The speedy catcher
but he's got the dauntless for hitting Glart, except not actually going to see Glart this time.
Nope.
That's a shame. He could have been the ultimate Glart hunter.
Yeah, I mean, I think the players that he had that made him useful against Skaven are out currently, which is kind of a problem.
Armin Hammer is extremely good against Skaven.
Yeah, he's the one that's him and Mean Joe Bean, but he used to have like the piling on tackle guy as well that helps a lot. And Jumbo Flynn can go after gutter runners, like he can keep up with them, and it's still 1 dies because he's strength 2.
Yeah, given this setup, I'm leaning way more Fed, but I think otherwise this would have been a really tough matchup for Fed.
I think this would have been a lot more interesting if B-Dog had his full team. 1, because Superfed would get to play his inducement game, and 2, the humans would be a lot more scary against the rats. But I think this is a lot less scary for the rats now, given the players that exist. Like, he's not going to be able to outstrength the rats. He's not really going to be able to keep up with them. And there's like 1 scary player that the rats care about. Like normally the sure hands would be pretty good against like the strip ball, but it turns out we've got like the strength anyway, so we can still 1 die wrestle, which is gonna be good enough most of the time, like half the time. So I think I'm a little sad that this game won't be, because otherwise I would have really wanted to watch this. But I think it's going to be potentially less interesting than it would have been otherwise.
Yep, and then we have a 1140
Here's another
Skaven team.
1100 TV inducements. Well, 1060, but still.
You think it's more likely to end up as you thought you were going to win before, and now you think you're going to draw, Fed? I think your odds of winning actually increased. I don't think you need inducements to beat this team anymore.
No. And I just think it's going to be less interesting. Like, I don't really care not care, that's not the right word.
Like, you have a natural one turner and he does not. It is difficult to imagine a world. It was an easy win last season. I don't remember how the game went last season. I remember thinking it should have been more human favored.
I think it would have been more interesting if he had his full team and you had inducements than what it's going to be.
Games are usually more interesting when you have teams.
Yeah, so, I mean, Uber has a strength 1 sacking gutter runner.
Huzzah.
And 1,100 TV and inducements. I don't know.
I think Uber has a decent shot if he doesn't take fucking Morg again.
The problem is Locus has more kill than Stouticus. He has more tackle than Stouticus. He has more movement than Stouticus. Like, if anything, this is going to be harder than the match against Stouticus was. And that was already a bit awkward. I don't know, man. It's too many inducements that I don't want to think about again.
I'm just picking Locus.
That's what I did as well. I think if the last game ended up Stouticus favored, and I think Locus's team is better at rats than Stouticus's is, that it's gonna go more Locus. Chorfoff
bait me this time by not taking silly inducements.
Maybe. Chorfoff, Chaos Subaru, and Mongoose, 1790, 1940. I feel like the bigger Chorf team is the way to go here.
Well, one of the bigger Chorf team is a lot taller.
That's true.
But it has 2 rookie blockers, so it's definitely spread a little bit more thin. It's only got 4 guard. It's got Damon Ball, which is nice,
and Discodorf is a thing now. Yeah, Discodorf has come online. Discord. It's not Disco. It's Discord.
Discordorf.
Discordorf.
I want it to be Discodorf because that's more fun.
It sounds like something that should be on Unseen Walker's team. So if you don't get a dwarf named Disco Dwarf soon, I'm going to be sad.
It's fair. Yeah, I think.
I mean, there's.
I think Mongoose has a narrow margin here.
You say there's two rookie Chorfs for Mongoose, but there's 2 like effectively rookie for Chaos Blue. There's one that's actually a rookie, and there's one that just has Claw. Claw is not irrelevant against other Chorfs, but it's not like it's.
Mongoose also has a way bigger bench, so I like that too.
Yeah, same, and more kill power. Bigger bench, more kill power. I think the one real big thing that Chaos Blue has is Discordorf. And if she can use that really well, then that's going to be the one thing that I don't know if Volcano has an easy answer to, other than I've removed all your players and now I'll just surround it. But that's going to have to happen. Okay, so that's REL 1. Let's go to REL 2. So we had Commanders in Grief versus BME. This was another one that we're thinking about watching because I don't think we've seen either of these coaches yet. 1-1. The Commanders in Grief suffered 7 KOs and 5 CAS. And the BME suffered 4 CAS and 4 KOs. So like they both just, if this is that they both just beat each other up on their own drive and scored game.
Well,
right?
Neither of them have regen, so they probably actually just beat the shit out of each other, period, and it became like a game of 7s.
Yeah, and they both scored on their own drive and couldn't really do anything about it because neither of them had players. Strength busted Black Orc. Ouch. Who is 3 SPP away from leveling too.
BME leveled his plus strength beastman though.
That George W. Push, which is a great name, I think is dead.
Yeah.
He's just a much worse blitzer now. It sucks because he was about to be stand firm as well, and leveling Black Orcs from rookies sucks when your other ones are already leveled. You know, they don't have block and the other ones do, so you don't block with them until the end because it's the more risky action, which means that the turn is over before they get to do stuff more often than not, and they just like it's compounded over a season, right? They may get 2 less blocks a game over 13 games. That's 26 blocks they don't get compared to the other Black Orcs, and it's likely some less SPP, and it's very annoying.
Yep. No real damage for BME. He took a movement bust on a rookie, which is the only relevant thing. So you can just buy a new one.
Yep. Yeah.
Slashy Pelt has leveled again, so I would like to see what Slashy Pelt took, and the answer is probably block, and it is block.
That makes sense.
It does make sense.
And he'll probably go. There's a couple ways you could go with him, and you might as well see what you roll next level. But like a strength 4 guard stand firm piece is really nice. You could even.
There's an MNG on a warrior, which is actually a big deal. I missed that.
You could go like strength 4 block, stand firm, frenzy, and like just surf everybody without any assists. There's a couple ways you could build that.
I like block. I think the way he had the last one built was block guard, and then I think it might have been block guard stand firm tentacles or just block guard tentacles. I think I like everything about that other than the tentacles.
That's probably what I would do with the Chaos Beastman like that. Is
it's nice to have another Chaos Warrior that's a little bit faster in exchange for armor.
And then you can be, and also, I mean, the big thing you have there is that he also blitzes on strength 5, which is kind of fun.
Oh, he was dodge. That's
and it lets you focus it. Like you could do something like take piling on one of your Chaos Warriors and not worry about putting strength on the ground because you have another strength 4 guard you can put somewhere. So it opens up other options. Debt Monkey and Fall. Practice makes permanent. Here we fall. I predicted Here We Fall for this one. And you predicted practice makes permanent. So, I lose points. 2-1 for Dead Monkey. Only 4 armor breaks for Here We Fall. But, I mean, they're, orcs. So that is not terribly
Dead
surprising.
Monkey, meanwhile, got 16 into 8 removals. So about average on that front. So the armor might have been a little high.
It is 9 removals. But could have from a dodge or something. But
yeah, dodge. No, well, there's an expulsion, so probably from a foul.
5 Kaz and 4 KOs suffered. The only important Kaz was Helm's Deep 2 took an MNG for next game, which is a thing, but the rest of them are pretty irrelevant. Dead Lino is annoying, but he's just a rookie, so like whatever. Not a huge deal. But what is a huge deal is there are 4 orc levels. 4. This would have been a fun post-match for the York coach. You get to roll 4 levels. Concussion, percussion levels. It's a blitzer with palm, juggernaut tackle. Hope for jump up. If not, you could consider pro, given you already have a frenzy one. The Disorient Express. Got a level. You could go piling on. You could go stand firm. Heart of Orcness is a black orc who's going to take Mighty Blow. Ugly Bag of Mostly Water is praying for block, and if we don't get it, we're going to take break, tackle, or grab, I guess, because you don't really have any other options. But that's fun. That's just a lot of skills to roll. He took grab. Heart of Orcness took Mighty Blow. Concussion, percussion got jump up. And Disorient Express took stand firm. So that went basically exactly as I thought. Excellent. I swear I didn't look at that before. Lino's dying. Like, it's annoying because they die before they get skills, and you probably have to replace them because you want to get skills, and you also probably want to have a bench or not have to deal with loners or whatever. But it's better than one of these guys dying. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, well, okay, but I'm not happy about that, Okay. And then Monster Bash and Cold Cuts tied 1-1. 5 KOs and 5 Kaz suffered by Monster Bash. And 7 Kaz suffered by Agrain. They both beat each other up, but the team with regen got back up. They still tied 1-1, so the timing of those Kaz, I guess, makes a huge difference depending on when they came. Let's look at those injuries. Salami took a movement bust on a piling on Chorf. That is terrible, but you don't get rid of it. You're just very sad. Movement bust on another Chorf. Strength bust on a hobgoblin means he's dead. And the other ones are badly hurts or MNGs. Just badly hurts on zombies. We leveled a flesh golem. He can get grab, I guess. Unless
tackle isn't bad either. A double would be amazing there for
dodge.
Yeah. He hasn't rolled it yet.
And a zombie leveled, he's going to get kick or dirty play or a wrestle or something. And Weiss Worst also leveled.
Probably kick. Kick isn't bad on Necro. I think they can make more use of it than most bash-ish teams. They're not really a bash team.
He also doesn't have any wrestle, and sometimes wrestle is just nice to have. And a zombie is a reasonable piece to put that on if you don't have a ghoul with it. And they can kind of double as like a line zombie, you know. Sometimes they don't get armor broken because they're wrestled. So like I think wrestle, dirty player, kick are all good choices. Then the match we watched between Trunkhead and Logo, Sterling Hornets and Self-Hating Dwarves, Eisenmike and Clone Thulu, 2-1 to Eisenmike's Dwarves.
Which is how I believe I called it as well. I think this is the one where you were like, fine, I'll take the other one, but I'm not happy about it.
I also took the
Dwarves.
That
was one of them. Oh, no, okay, that was a different one then.
But there was
we
one
both
that was
thought
like
the Dwarves would just beat up on the Elves, and we were right.
4 Kaz, 4 KOs.
I'll do it.
Dead Blodge Lino, Armor Busted, Blodge Step Strength Lino, MNG Loner, Badly Hurt, Blitzer.
It's a lot of damage.
Yeah, nothing in terms of damage on the Dwarves, so that's not surprising. Dwarves beat up some Elves, and 2-1 grounded out. Level on guard spam is obnoxious. I don't know.
You might just take Palm on there.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the suite of dwarf skills now. You know, guard, stand for a mighty blow. He's even added a dodge in there.
Grab. I guess it is a movement busted blocker, so you probably don't want piling on. So grab makes some amount of sense there.
Yeah, it helps when you get into the weird dwarf scrums where we have like 9 players in a 9 square and everybody's just kind of stuck and fighting, and it's the guard puzzle, and you know, grab both helps solve that problem, and it also can deal with like some sidestep players if you really have that issue. But I think grab or piling on are the choices, and movement bust puts it in favor of grab for me. Felwis Kawadadal and Abysmal Cusp. The Elves got 10 armor breaks to the Nurgle's 13, which is not really where you want to be as Nurgle.
This is the game where Not for Science outbashed the Nurgle.
Like, I don't...
MNG'd the killer and badly hurt the other killer.
Yep. This seems to happen to me a lot in elf games where the elves out-remove me, and I'm just sad about it.
Yeah, Lord Nathaniel Marr just went on a tear.
You got 3 Kaz.
Tunari round 3. This is definitely the third Tunari at minimum.
Yeah. Did level.
Has leveled up after getting.
Did he get movement?
Touchdowns and the MVP.
Did he get movement? He leveled. No, he has dodge.
Boo.
When you're Nurgle against high elves, getting out removed by high elves, you just lose. It's one of those matchups that I said like before, where the Nurgle kind of just are aiming to remove players so that they can get access to the ones that are going to lose them the game. So if you get out removed, you just can't do that, and then you lose the game, and the elves win 3-0. And you can't really stop it. Sometimes you can get a touchdown, or maybe you can stop one. You know, you'll see 2-1 scorelines or something, but the game is never really in your hands. Yeo and Minamo tied, which is unsurprising. Another game where they both beat the hell out of each other and scored. 6 Kaz and 4 KOs suffered.
I like when you get the little like 4-4-4-4 KO matrix. It's just like they donged each other.
Dong.
Pretty hard.
Like the yield guard suffered.
6-5. Did either of you have? And then look at this: 4 KOs each. One side had 5 Kaz sustained. One side had 6. And then there was 2 expulsions for one side and 1 for the other. So
did either of you touch the ball? I mean, you must have had to, given that it was 1-1.
Dead the Nurgle Warrior is dead, so, you know.
Yeah. So the Nurgle suffered 6 Kaz, and 4 of them were on regen players that didn't get better. So, like, and one of them was a Rotter. So he got really unlucky with his regens, right? He went 1 for 5 on regens here.
Both teams lost some great players, though.
Yeah, dead Nurgle Warrior. Well, I mean, a dead Nurgle Warrior is always terrible, and that's what we lost. And then we lost. We had a dead Agi Beastman and a dead like Block Beastman. So yeah, they both lost an important player. But I think the regen killed this for Yayo. Like, if he had average regen rolls, he probably would have won this. But he went 1 for 5.
Yeah. Right. A shame to see Dead die 2 SVP short of a level, but
yeah,
you know.
Well, you named him Dead. What do you expect? This is your fault.
I really, this is your fault, Yayo.
But like,
you'll notice that Undying isn't dead.
So like, if Dead regened, or like going down 2 Pestigors is so big, like in this matchup, especially when one is your ball carrier. Neither of them regened. Like, that's terrible. I think maybe could have been a win for Yayo if regen was better. So after that, this is what the leaderboards will look like. We have Det Monkey and Trunkhead tied for first with 301 records. And then tied for second, we have Logo, Tech19, and Not for Science with 2-1. But very hot on their heels. Pretty close so far with Agrain, Fall, Yayo, BME, and Onania are all within 1 of jumping up into second place, like 1 win or 1 game. Minamo not having the greatest start, unfortunately, 0-1-3. Everyone else has picked up at least a win somewhere.
Would you like to observe the majesty that is the touchdown differential of 2B?
-5 for Zebus and 8 for you.
Well, I think someone pointed out that if you added all of the others together, it is the exact same magnitude as mine, but, you know, negative.
12 and 8 are not the same.
Is the sum? I don't know. Someone said something in Discord that was bizarre, but I haven't actually.
I see. But if you add up literally everybody's touchdown differential but yours, it's -8 and yours is +8. I thought you meant just the negative numbers, like it's -12 and +4.
I don't know. Someone else said it on me. But,
well, it's this. If you add up all of those numbers, they add up to -8, and then yours is 8.
It's good.
But I mean, that's how math works. Like, if you add up the touchdown differentials of every team, they're gonna equal out to 0.
It is a 0-sum game. It's true.
It just happens to be very like.
Would you like to click on my team and witness the murder that I occurred, though?
No, because it's gonna you're gonna be like, oh no, everybody's dead. I'm like, this team is still great. What the fuck are you talking about?
Great. I'm just pissing on you. So we have an Orc versus Nurgle game to start.
Well, generally, I'd say that's a Nurgle favored thing.
It is also a Nurgle team that has 200 TV advantage. It is down a dead Nurgle Warrior as discussed because it's Yayo, but should be decently Nurgle favored.
It's just we're missing 2 Black Orcs. It's Nurgle favored.
Yeah, I think otherwise this would be an easier game.
Yeah, like the Orcs win this by making the Nurgle not able to get blocks because they have as much strength and more guard than you. But now you have less strength and less guard. And then Nurgle have Claw Mighty Blow, and you're just sad. Like, this is going to be an uphill battle for Onani, I think. Nurgle and Chaos. Real big Nurgle versus less big Chaos because they're missing one of their warriors. I mean, the bigger Nurgle is generally how I always judge these things. We are missing the killer Pestigor, though, and there's no other kill potential on Sir Kodiak's team. Like, there's 0 Claw Mighty Blow. There's 2 Mighty Blow on the team besides the Beast. And none of it is attached to Claw, which is not great against a team that has 3 Claw Mighty Blow. So, like, normally, I'd be pretty in favor of the bigger Nurgle team. But you can the one thing that the Nurgle team has over you is a bit of strength and guard.
How is this a 2,000 TV Nurgle team?
16-man bench.
I guess we can
or 15 men.
It's not even really.
No, I mean it's actually 2260 Nurgle team or 2240 Nurgle team. It's just missing one player. I mean, Nurgle do the same thing as Chaos, right? Like when it looks like they have skills, it's because they're very expensive. Like Nurgle players are really expensive. Nurgle warriors are more expensive than Chaos warriors. Pestigors are more expensive than Beastmen.
I still believe in the Nurgle.
I don't, weirdly enough. Almost always I would predict the Nurgle, given that they're bigger. But the thing that the Nurgle have over the Chaos right now is not kill, it is strength and guard. And those are things that you can fix with inducements. And he gets inducements. Like you could go Borak to cover some of that strength, or even like I've won games like this down because you can fix that problem. Like against bigger Nurgle teams or bigger Chaos teams by taking something like Borak or Grashnak, and you can fix the strength problem that way. I think I actually like the Hornstars here.
Then we have Fell with Quaddle with their Palm Blitzer versus a team that is entirely comprised of Niggles.
Yep. And one of them
I think Fell with Quaddle is going to win. Moving on.
Yeah, I mean, it's an elf team with a human blitzer against a team with armor and niggle problems.
Yeah, that armor 6 niggled catcher is going to have a bad day. I mean, sure, it's strength up and it's blodge, so you want to keep it, but
I mean, Not for Science still has a strength 2 player to continue the tradition. And he's got a movement 5, Agi 3, AV 7 line elf. He's collecting one of each. He just needs the niggle, and he's got the strength blast, and he's got the whole line of red numbers. But like that's the kind of team that Not for Science can do very well against, even with the players he has.
Absolutely. Like it turns out rostering a human blitzer, like this is exactly why you would roster a human blitzer. I mean, I think most teams would, but it's strongest in this type of a matchup, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Fear makes elves go faster. Niggles are just a feature. Okay. The dwarves and the dark elves. The Fragile and Limp logos like pretty serious dark elves that we just watched versus Eisenmike's dwarves.
So Eisenmike's gonna have a wizard or something.
So we have Eisenmike, the self-hating dwarves, and Fragile and Limp, the dark elves we just watched. I know
this is a hard one to call. I think I'd like the dark elves more if I hadn't just watched them play.
I was kind of going to say the same thing. I don't want to be like mean, but there's definitely some weird decisions, I think, in that Dark Elf game. And I think making decisions like that against a team like dwarves that are going to punish mispositioning, right? Like if you accidentally screw up and be like, well, damn, I have to make a dodge now. The whole team has tackle, right?
I mean, I still think that the stats he has will go a long way in making things difficult for Eisenmike.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a block sure hands ball carrier, and he's got enough guard that he's probably not going to be giving away anything but a red die sack. And a red die sack with wrestle is what, like 25%, something like that?
It's not great. I mean, it's better if you choose to use a reroll on it, but
yeah.
I mean, and like some of the players that like the piling on Mighty Blow lineman that is really useful against other elves is not useful here. Like like you said, the strip ball sacker isn't super useful here. The one real wild card is that movement 9 elf. The fastest dwarf player is movement 6, right? You don't even have to GFI to be completely out of a dwarf range with movement 9. And so you can, if Eisenmike, I think if Eisenmike makes a mistake, that one blitzer can punish that mistake really, really, really hard. And just be like, okay, I'm gone. You can no longer touch me. And it's going to take you 2 turns to catch up, right? And in that time, I can reposition. I can do whatever I want. I can score. So that, and then there's also there's theoretically the like 1 turn option, but I think there's a lot of stand firm. Yeah, there's 3. Is there Juggernaut? No. So like the 1 turn isn't great, but the 2 turn is very feasible. And all we really need to do is get a couple squares over the LOS on offense, and we can score whenever we want. Like this blitzer is the huge wild card for me, and it makes it really hard to predict.
I mean, I think I'm gonna lean Dark Elves, but
I will
don't
take.
feel amazing about it.
I'll take dwarves, and we'll have an opposite prediction then. Trunkhead and Tech 19, 1740.
Traditionally, not a matchup that is very easy for Dark Elves. I think a lot of teams like this can struggle against Necro. That said, there is no Mighty Blow Claw. There's only Claw, but it is Claw Tackle. So
no bench for the elves, and they're missing one of their Agi pieces. They still have another one because there are 2 Agi 5 elves on this team.
Yeah, no real inducements to speak of. Could scum for a bribe, but that would be a little... No, you can't, actually. You only have 90k. So could scum a little bit for a babe, but it's super unlikely you'd sustain any serious amount of damage here. Trunk does have a palm piece, but isn't likely to be using it very often against a team with
unlimited fouling potential.
Yeah.
There's no real.
There's no wolves, pretty much, and that's it.
Yeah,
Pylon wolves.
There's no sure hands, but there's also no strip, so it doesn't make a huge difference that way. The Agi Wolf is really the once again there's sort of 2 wild. Well, there's a kind of 1 wild card here, right? And that's Fenrir. Depends on how well that Agi Wolf can be utilized, and he's going to be the key, I think, for the Necro against these elves. 2 guard, 3 guard. The elves have a lot of guard, surprisingly, to deal with some of the Necro things.
There are 4 guard for the Necro.
Oh, there's a zombie, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is going to be a good match. We should probably watch it, except it's not really the time to do so, and we've watched Trunkhead twice already, so we can't actually watch this match. But
yeah,
everyone else should go watch this match because it's 2nd place versus 4th. I think it's an interesting racial matchup. I think the teams are pretty evenly matched.
I think it could be very interesting, yeah.
What's your call?
I don't know. I'm going to, so you asked that, and I just had a gut instinct that I think I'm just going to accept.
I've already picked, so... Oh, the drop down for that cell is broken, too.
Okay. Control Shift Alt 1. Fixed.
For you, maybe.
Control Shift Alt 1. Fixed.
You just have to go sheet by sheet to fix that.
That's the only real option I have. I think that's mattered in other rounds, and I haven't fixed it for people, which I'm sorry if it's been a problem.
You went with Trunk. Nice. My gut was actually the other way.
But worst case, you could just copy paste the team name into the square, and it'll be fine. If you just copy Damn Yankees or Monster Bash into the thing, it's not going to yell at you. It's just that it only looks for those specific names. So if you don't don't capitalize Monster Bash or something, it'll think you got it wrong.
I don't think this is an easy one, and I think the Trunk has the advantage as long as he doesn't go down players. But I think with the amount of Mighty Blow and Claw kicking around, and the Dirty Player, and the unlimited fouling potential, I think it usually swings a little bit in the Necro's favor, and once it does, it's going to be pretty hard for him. But I could very easily see this going his way.
Yeah, it's very even. My initial gut reaction was just sort of, Dark Elves probably have the advantage, other than if what you said comes true. And the always cheaty thing is Trunkhead is currently ahead in the standings, so you can that influences me definitely sometimes.
That's fair.
So I took that as well.
And we have Here We Fall versus Cold Cut, so Broken Chorfs versus Fairly Broken High Elves.
The High Elves get 50-70, which is not a lot.
Not a lot indeed, and they don't really want to blow any extra stuff, so I'm guessing that's just going to be a babe. Not a useless thing to have in a matchup like this, but...
The Chorfs don't have a bench, which doesn't matter too much, other than they might reconsider fouling, or at least do it more carefully, only do it on particularly good players. They're also missing their best killer, and normally that's not terribly relevant, but it's the only Mighty Blow piling on, which is the relevant bit of that. The Claw Mighty Blow certainly matters. They're high elves, but that's not really as important as the piling on, I think, that we're missing. The Strength Agi Blitzer and the Movement 9 Catcher are the big deals for the elves. And yeah, that should be fun as well. Like Agrain certainly knows how to play elves. He won the Super Bowl with elves. So it might be hard to sneak something elfy by him. Like he'll know what matters there, if that makes sense. So I think this might be a bit tougher than maybe you'd think.
No, I think that the Chorfs have a pretty decent shot here between basically on the backs of the Bulls.
Yeah, the Bull Centaurs are going to make a pretty big difference. The guard is good.
I think I like Agrain for this.
I think I do too. And yeah, part of it is the reason I said is that, like, you know, Agrain is very experienced at playing elves, so he kind of knows what they can do and that sort of thing.
Big Orcs versus Chaos missing their best warrior. I think the Big Orcs will win.
I agree.
Excellent. Week over.
We talked about this before. The Orcs win this by being big, having more strength and more guard, and these ones do. So that's going to make it real hard.
I played this matchup once, and I was like, cool. I won the coin toss. I'm going on offense first. This is my only shot. I literally just have to make these line blocks count. He rolls a perfect D. He puts all of his guard on the line. I cry, and I lose the game.
Oh, I've played this matchup from both perspectives. It's real hard for the Chaos unless your like first 2 or 3 turns go really well, or if the Orcs like make a mistake somewhere. With Nurgle, it's a bit easier because that turn can come from like the Orcs fail a particularly important like foul appearance or something, and that means like your guard player is still on their feet, so you can bust a hole and then run around them or something like that. But as the Chaos or Nurgle in this type of matchup, it's you either get removals early or you pray the Orcs screw something up. Otherwise, you lose.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's just sort of how that matchup works. Okay, so let me. This is your 3-second warning before I put the scoreboard on the screen. 3, 2, 1, boink. This is how our tipping comp is shaken out so far. I've taken over the lead in REL 1. However, that's entirely canceled out by my terrible performance in REL 2. Where BME is still leading, which means that BME's second performance in REL 1 and first performance in REL 2 puts him overall first place. And it has, between us, what matters is that it has swung. You are now on the lead by 2 points.
I'm in second overall too, actually.
We are doing better this season than we were last season. Slightly less embarrassing.
I'm good at the mid-season part, and then I fall apart towards the end because I get lulzy usually.
Yeah, same. Slightly less embarrassing than last season. Anyway, I'll bring up the title screen. Thanks everybody for being here. That's going to be week 5. We will be back same bat time, same bat channel next week on Wednesday for week 6. Thanks everybody for being here. We will see you next week, hopefully. And until then, I'm at Steakmittens.
And I'm Shadorra.
See you later, folks.